Hello, this is Judy McMath, the Center for Unhindered Living, and today we're going to talk about exposing crisis pregnancy centers. Now, they don't often call them crisis pregnancy centers anymore. They call them pregnancy resource centers a lot of times because they don't want to just appeal to women in crisis. They want to try to appeal to as many women as possible. And make it sound like it's a place where you can come to get resources if you're pregnant. Let me just say that I used to be a evangelical fundamentalist Christian. I am no longer. But I used to work in a crisis pregnancy center, so I have firsthand knowledge of what goes on there. My advice to anyone who is in a crisis pregnancy situation is not to visit a crisis pregnancy center. And you'll see why in a minute. So I worked at a crisis pregnancy center in a middle-sized town in a southern state. And there was many practices that went on there that I did not agree with. Hence the fact that I no longer work there. So the first thing that happens is a girl thinks she's pregnant, so she calls the crisis pregnancy center and they say, "Do you do pregnancy tests?" And we say, "Yes, we have pregnancy tests." Well, we don't actually do the pregnancy tests. Since the crisis pregnancy center was not a medical facility and no one that works there is a medical doctor or nurse, they're all volunteers that are unpaid usually. Since we're not a medical facility, we could not tell anyone that they were or were not pregnant because that would be a medical diagnosis. But when girls would call and say, "Do you do pregnancy tests?" we would say, "Yes, we do them." Well, we didn't actually do the test. We had self-administered pregnancy tests, which meant the girl had to administer the test to herself. And we would bring the girl in to the bathroom and we would set out all of the materials and an information sheet with directions, and we would explain how to do the test. And then we would leave her alone in the bathroom with the test. She would perform the test herself. Then when she was done, we would go back in and we would look at the test with her. We would not say whether it looked positive or negative. We would say, "So what does it appear to you that the test says?" And she would then say, "Well, it looks to me like it's positive." And we'd say, "Okay." So then we would take her in the other room, to the counseling room it was called, even though no one in the place was a licensed counselor. And we would sit down and talk with her. Now, if I was not a fundamentalist evangelical Christian, I would have taken the girl in there, sat down with her and said, "So, how do you feel about the fact that you have had a positive pregnancy test? How do you feel about being pregnant?" And I would just let her talk. And I would learn what her thoughts and feelings were and what information she needed that I could give her. But that is not how we did it. We would take the girl into the counseling room and we would say, "Congratulations, we're so happy for you that you're pregnant. And we're here to assist you in any way that we can for you to have a healthy pregnancy and a healthy baby." Okay, so right off the bat, we're slanting the information we're willing to give her. We want her to ask for and take information about adoption or parenting. We do not want her to ask for information about abortion. And if she does ask for that information, if she says, "Well, how can I get an abortion?" we say, "Well, we don't really handle that, so we can't give you that information." Well, she's come here to an information center to get information, and we are not giving her the information she needs. But so we say, "Well, we can't give you that information." "Well, do you know how much an abortion costs?" Well, we know very well how much they cost. But we would say, "No, because we don't handle those, we have no idea how much they cost." She says, "Well, what is an abortion like?" So then we're instructed to describe for her in the most grisly way possible an abortion procedure. And we might say something like, "Well, the doctor is going to put you up in a chair, sort of like a dentist chair with your feet up, and then he's going to take a vacuum extractor that's 20 times more powerful than your home vacuum, and he's going to suck your baby out in pieces. So that's what we were supposed to say. Now, had I not been trained to do that, I personally would have said, you know, you'll go in, you'll be in a chair, sort of like a dentist chair. You will be given a procedure that will remove any contents of your uterus, and it will be swift and virtually painless. That's what I would say. I would not try to scare her to death with grisly details. But that is what we were taught to do. And then, after we've given her all the information that we possibly can, that we think she can use, then we were supposed to, with every single person that came in, we were supposed to present to her the plan of salvation. Now, this is the part that really irritated me, and I very rarely ever did it, even though we were supposed to do it with every person that came in. Because I felt like we're getting her there under false pretenses. We're getting her there at a time that's very stressful, when she's very impressionable and feeling very vulnerable, and we're going to take advantage of that to try to get her to accept Jesus. Now, if people want to accept Jesus, that's fine. But you've got her there when she's very vulnerable, probably feeling guilty because maybe she's done something that maybe she thought she shouldn't have done. And so she's feeling guilty. And so when you say, do you want to ask Jesus to forgive your sins? Well, she probably would like that because she would like to get rid of that guilt. So you have coerced her into taking a step that she would not have taken under normal circumstances. And I feel that that is wrong. And I did not do it. Now, the only time that I did do it was when we were being checked out, and there was another trainee or someone else in the room with us, and we were supposed to train them. Then I would have to do it because it was part of the training. But when I was in there alone with a client, I never did that because I felt that it was wrong, and I still feel that it's wrong to take advantage of someone in a vulnerable position to force them to take a step they wouldn't take under normal circumstances. And we are deceiving them. We're not giving them the information that they want and need. We're lying to them when we say that we don't know how they can get an abortion or how much it costs. And we're trying in every way, shape, or form to influence them to the latter. Now, I understand there are people that have problems with abortion. You don't have to, if you don't believe in it, you don't have to do it. But it is not your place to try and get someone else not to do it. If they want to do it and feel they need to do it, it's your place to provide the information that they need and leave it up to them. It's their body. It's their life. They need to take responsibility for that, not you. It's not your responsibility. So then, if the girl agrees that she's going to keep the baby or give it up for adoption or whatever, then we've got all kinds of goodies we can give her, like baby clothes and formula and maternity clothes and so forth, childbirth classes. Each different center offers different resources. But we've got all these goodies that we're going to give her, but not if she is going to have an abortion. We're not going to give her any services. So we then are not really providing crisis services because we're not helping her get out of her crisis. So I just felt that that was wrong, and I stopped working there. I would never work at one of those places again. There are plenty of other places that you can go if you need help. Catholic Charities is a good place to go. They are, even though they don't believe in abortion, they will provide you services, no questions asked. It's better if you go to the health department. The health department will be non-judgmental. The health department will be non-religious, and all the information that they give you, and they'll give you accurate information. And they would probably give you names and addresses of places you could call to get an abortion. So my first choice would be to call or go to the health department in your city. So anyway, just don't believe that these crisis pregnancy centers have your best interests at heart, because they don't. The crisis pregnancy center will not tell you the truth, which is that the Bible endorses abortion. In Numbers chapter 5, there is a description of an abortion procedure, an induced abortion. And they don't ever like to talk about that because it's in there. It's what God approved of under those circumstances. In fact, he commanded that these women go to the priest to get this potion that they would drink, which would then cause them to miscarry the baby. So all of those crisis pregnancy centers that tell you that God is against abortion, or that Christians shouldn't have an abortion, or that the Bible doesn't endorse abortion, they are wrong. It does. Look it up. Numbers chapter 5. Be that as it may, I don't think the Bible should really be your guide as to what you do with your life anyway. So seek out other women who have had the same experience as you and take their advice. Or, you really don't need anyone else's advice. You do what you think is right. Your judgment is just as good as anyone else's and just as valid. People make all different kinds of decisions. There's no right or wrong decision. It's whatever's right for you in your life. So please, we want you to feel supported. We want you to feel loved. We want you to feel that you are worthy, you are acceptable, you haven't done anything wrong, you haven't done anything to feel guilty about. And you can choose what you want to do with this pregnancy. It's up to you. And no one else can tell you otherwise. So thank you very much. This is Judy McMath with the Center for Unhindered Living. Please click subscribe below so you can get notified when we come out with other videos. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.